Before knowing about what new criticism is, into a field of literary theory where we are trying to understand how we analyze a literary text. ಯಾವ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಾಟ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ಒಂದು ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ before we understand what are the different school of thoughts, I would like to ask you one simple question, that how do you start interpreting a text or analyzing a text? What is the process which you start when you read a poem or try to understand a writing? Yes, anybody who wishes to answer? What do you do when you take a poem, a piece of work, a literary art? How do you analyze it? ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಮೊದಲು ಒಂದು poem ನ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ? Anybody wants to answer?
Read and understand.
Yes, you'll read and understand. So when it comes to a understanding part, what will you do? If you get a sonnet, or if you get a poem which is about a nature, what will you do in the beginning when you look at a poem? Will you directly go to the poem, or you want to do anything? Yeah, title understanding, yes, true. Before, after title understanding, what do you look for?
First, we must imagine the poem.
Okay, yes. So
the main theme of the poem, we must understand it first, and we will concentrate on that day.
Okay, now I'll put this question in another way. Okay, what do you think is a biography? Yes, exactly. Abhi Manjunath has written that author's background, his interest, lifestyles, and his ideologies. Why I would ask you this question is, usually we all, when we take a literary text in the sense, it is also a poem, it is also a prose, it is it is also a poem, it is also a prose, it may be a novel, it may be a short story, any kind of a genre which comes in literary art, or when you take it as a language in literature. So we search for the background of an author. We see that who the go for the lifestyle of an author. We like to read the chronological orders of where he was born, what influenced the writer, and we try to give a connectivity to the writing. ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಲಿಟರರಿ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನ ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಆಥರ್ ಜೊತೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಸಂಬಂಧವನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಅವರು ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು implications of his own life or her own life ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ we'll try to look, if I can mention Porphyria's Lover. This is a poem which comes in Victorian period. As I am saying, we look into the background of Robert Browning. We'll try to read Robert Browning. We'll come to know that he belongs to Victorian era. That's the reason we'll try to see what is the Victorian thought or social context which we can see in a poem, all right, or in any kind of a literary genre. We definitely look for author. So Ishtanna, we have understood. Now, why I asked you this question is, when we are reading new critics, when we are going into the world of new criticism, we need to understand that new critics were the people who brought a change in the way we understand the text, in the way we look into a poem or a prose. So I will now share the screen. It will be about new criticism. So I hope you all can see it. I think I need a permission from host to share the screen. Yeah, thank you. Can you see the screen? Can you see it? Can you see the new criticism screen which is shared?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Yes. So going to what new criticism is an approach to literature in the 20th century that evolved out of formalist criticism. So formalist andre enu? We look for the form of a text. ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಪೊಯಮ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೇವೆ, ವಿ ಲುಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮ್, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ. That is the school of thought or critical school which speaks about formal. So new criticism is another school of thought which has come out of that formalist criticism. This has been coined by the word new criticism, John Crow Ronson, the new criticism in 1941. Okay, it was very prominent in literary criticism until 1960s. You can see till 1960s the way they looked at was as a person who looks for a form of a text. This focuses on, that is the new critics, or when we analyze a text as a new critical approach, we focus on text itself. So they gave emphasis on text. In the text, they gave emphasis on close reading. Can anybody help me in understanding what you think is close reading? What may be close reading? Will anybody try? Close reading. Okay. So close reading is nothing but looking for rhythm, looking for meter, looking for theme, looking for imagery, looking for metaphor, figures of speech, literary devices which are there in the text. When I mean text, any literary form which we are speaking about. As a few of your friends said, ma'am, we'll go to understand what the writing is, what kinds of figures of speech are used, whether it's a simile, whether it's a metaphor, whether it is a personification, whether it is euphemism, any other kinds of figures of speech. Focus is on text itself because they say that text is autotelic. To explain what is autotelic, I think you all know many words which starts from auto, automobile, automotive, you know many words which starts from tele, telepathy, telephone. So what do they say? Auto is something which tries to say about its own, automatically it tries to speak. Telic is trying to express. So when we take a text, new critics say that a text is complete in itself. There is no need for us to look for author's background to understand the text. Text is complete. Text is saying everything. Whether it's a poem, whether it's a prose or any literary genre, text is complete. We can analyze everything by reading only text. There is no need for us to look for the background of an author or even a social context. Okay, shall I move to the next slide? Yes. This movement has been derived from few elements, that is principle of literary criticism and practical criticism, which are A. Richards and many critical essays of T.S. Eliot. I think you have previously attended a webinar which was on T.S. Eliot's Tradition and Individual Talent. So you can understand there was a difference in the way they perceived about the way writing is, the way it has to be. Okay, it opposed the prevailing interest of scholars, critics, teachers of that era in biographies of author. ಅವರು ನ್ಯೂ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದ್ರು ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ 19th and 20th century, ಅವರು ಬಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ ಆಫ್ ಅನ್ ಆಥರ್ನ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟು ರೀಡ್ ಅ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಬಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ ಆಫ್ ಅನ್ ಆಥರ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ಅವರು ಎನ್ಕರೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ದೇ ನೆವರ್ ಅಗ್ರಿ ವಿತ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಬಯೋಗ್ರಫಿ. Okay, first thing. Then they don't agree with having the social context or knowing social context of literature. ಈಗ ಸಪೋಸ್ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ನ ತಗೊಳ್ತೇವೆ, we'll try to know in which social context it is. Then we start analyzing, okay, this was during Victorian era, this was during Romantic era, and so these kinds of interpretations have come. We do, when we take lot of examples from, suppose if we take My Last Duchess, when we read the poem, we read a poem, we thing which is trying to speak about Duchess. Oh, there is a kind of Victorian concept. We go for biography, we read the biography, we'll understand in which era it is written. Then we start analyzing, okay, this is about explanation during the Victorian era. So this is how we do. But they say that social context of literature should not disturb when we start analyzing a literary text. So then is, it opposes external circumstances, effects, or historical position of a work, but consideration of work itself as an independent entity. ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಪುಸ್ತಕವನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ನ್ಯೂ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅವರು ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಸೋಷಿಯೋ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಅದು ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋಲ್ಲ ವೆನ್ ದೇ ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಅ ಲಿಟರರಿ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಟೇಕ್ Great Expectation, if you take Chimney Sweepers, we may also give our attention to mining, to Marxist, to a society which is having a labor class and a working class and a high class. All these things will not come when somebody is doing a new critical analysis. So our yavaglu, they give emphasis on the text as an independent entity. A text ige matra vattu kodtare. Moving to the what is discussed in new criticism, there are two kinds of false or wrong notions when we do analysis of a text. One is intentional fallacy, other is affective fallacy. Let us see what is intentional fallacy. So before that, can you tell me what is intention? What do you mean by intention? What is intention? Can anybody tell?
Doing it willingly.
Come again, please.
Doing it willingly.
Doing it willingly.
With an intention.
Yeah, I want you to give an explanation of what is the intention. What do we look for?
Means you have some kind of a plan or something.
Yes.
You have planned a deed.
Yes. So we are trying to look for a particular purpose when we look at writing. According to new critics, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಬ್ಬ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕ್ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಕ್ ನ ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ we should not look for what the author's intention is. Why did the author write? Maybe the author is writing this for a expected decoding, for an expected intention to reach to the readers. ಈ ರೀತಿಯ the writer is writing for a particular purpose and that purpose has to reach ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಅದನ್ನ they discarded it. Okay, they never wanted to look for what the purpose is for a writer to write, or even they also had a notion that you cannot understand the purpose of a writer until and unless you go and ask for the writer himself or herself. If we have to understand intentional fallacy, it's a literary term again coined by American new critics W.K. Wimsatt and Monroe Beardsley. They always look for the text as text, where we are not going for biography of an author, where we are not looking for what the intention of author is, and we are not assuming or declaring intention in writing a work. ಇದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ಇವರು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. They wanted to say about the differences of class in the prevailing society, so they have penned a writing which exists where it shows there is a conflict between two classes ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ concept na they don't agree with that. That is a false thing if we are approaching the writing ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು new critics na ಒಂದು ಪ್ರತಿಪಾದನೆ. And another thing is they say it is impossible to determine an author's reason for writing a text. Example, one of the work which I am doing in my thesis is about Vaidehi Mam's Agnisakshi. In Agnisakshi, so many things are there. Vasudeva, not Agnisakshi, sorry, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, or Vasudeva's story. So in that, Vaidehi strongly speaks about the changes of society when there is struggles which took place in order to bring equality in a society and there is no caste conflict. So when I met ma'am and I was taking an interview, I asked ma'am that, ma'am, what is the intention of creating a character who tried to bring, a bridge between high class and a low class? Then she said, I never had any particular kind of an intention, and it just happened, because why I told you this is, need not all authors figure or try to characterize a character by having intention. Okay, so this is one thing, and it's impossible to know somebody else's thoughts or intention of a particular writing. Next is affective fallacy. So now we understood we should not look for intention of author. Now there is another wrong thing which we do. What is that? That is affective. This is defined by Wimsatt and Beardsley in 1949. What is that? It's error of judging or evaluating a text on the basis of its emotional effects on a reader. ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಪುಸ್ತಕವನ್ನು ಓದ್ತೇವೆ, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಪುಸ್ತಕವನ್ನ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಐ ಲೈಕ್ಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರಿಲೇಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಟು ದ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್. ಮೈ ಲೈಫ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಲೈಕ್ how the protagonist is. We hear so many students tell this kind of experience when they read a writing. There we are giving our emotional response to the text, individual emotional response. If you take example of a few of the people, if you ask them, what kind of movies do you watch? I have heard many people say that I don't really wish to watch a movie where there is a sad ending or where lovers don't meet each other. When you ask why, they say that I don't want to see somebody getting separated. I don't want to feel, because I feel hurt. That should not happen in my life. That is an emotional attachment to a writing where you're giving your subjective analysis of emotions which has happened in your own life on the writing. They don't watch many movies. Then that text, when movie is also considered, what is the value which you're giving for that creation? ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಮೆರಿಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ we don't value because we don't like that kind of writing. ಆಗೇನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅದು? That is looking for emotions of a reader. So new critics ಹೇಳೋದು, that is not the way of interpreting a text. We should not be carried away with the emotions when we are reading. Emotions, an individual emotion, should never disturb the way we criticize or the way we analyze. The new critics held that work should not have to be understood relative to the responses of its readers. Its merit must be inherent. Inherent ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನ we can find out. There are so many things to be looked. There are the language, the pattern of writing, the form of writing, the structure of writing, as we already discussed, the meter, the discussion about the figures of speech, images, symbols which are used. There's so many things which also will give emphasis on writing itself. Okay. Moving on to the next thing, new critics also have this kind of a thought that poetry is a purest exemplar values which they upheld. And they consider poetry as a purest form of literary art. I remember when we give any kind of a work to students, when we say that you write a poem on this and show me, then everybody say that, ma'am, I'm not so good in writing poem that will be very artistic, but I can write an article. This is usually what we see when students speak with us. Why? Because poetry is something which not come as a sentence. There are so many things which are added to the poetic language. There is rhythm, there is a meter, there is so many life which will be given within lines, that cannot be taken in a paragraph. As Cleanth Brooks says, heresy of paraphrase. When you change a form of a particular writing, that cannot give you the same implication of what author has beautifully written in the writing. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಪೋಯಮ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಲಿಟರರಿ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ನ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಫ್ರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು explanation ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ, we give justice to whatever the author has written ಅಂತ if we try, it's not possible, because if we change the form of that particular point, everything changes. I can give you one good example. Ode on a Grecian urn. If we read Ode on a Grecian urn by Keats, we can see that there are so many beautiful comparisons when it comes. If you write that as a paragraph, if you explain that as an analysis, do you think it is equally artistic when we compare it to what Keats has written? It's again a question mark. It cannot happen. That is what the new critics say. That will become a heresy of paraphrase, where it cannot reach to the form. So they say that form and content is not separate entities. It is inseparable. Okay. These are few examples which I tried to give you. So if you want to further understand about what new criticism is, and if you like to, analyze any text with reference to new criticism, you can follow this. One is Practical Criticism, a study of literary judgment by I.A. Richards. Second is The Well-Wrought Urn by Cleanth Brooks. Then English Poetry Since 1960 by Michel Schmidt and Greville Lillop. 8 Contemporary Poets by Calvin. 9 Contemporary Poets, a Critical Introduction by P.R. King. The Force of Poetry by Christopher Ricks. These are all the few books which you can read out of your interest to better try to implement and try to find when they raise their voice against the biographical criticism. This is how I have tried to give a implication of everything. New criticism, form and content inseparable. There are so many things, that is irony, ambiguity, figures of speech, contradictions, everything which comes in a poem which has to be discussed more than referring to a biography and then coming to the conclusion about a poem. Then about abstract language, about intentional fallacy, effective fallacy, text is central, and considering everything. St. Coleridge tells that a poem is an organic whole. There is no need for us to look for any other means to understand a poem. It itself is a complete entity to understand. This is how I tried to give you a glimpse of what new criticism is and how you can go ahead with interpreting the text, having new criticism as a school of thought. I think I can conclude the new criticism now. If you have any queries, you can ask me now, or shall I go to modernism? I think Padma Shri ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything to speak or anything to share or anything to add to the understanding of new criticism, it's open for you for a few minutes. That will be a break indeed for us to understand modernism, and on the way we can also discuss. And any things you want to share? Any things you want to add? Any queries you have to ask? Or did you feel good to have another kind of criticism where you look for a form of writing? Or is it new for you? How do you feel? Yes, Amresh wants to say something. Okay, ma'am, shall we continue with the modernism?
Yes, ma'am. You continue with the modernism. Thank you.
Yes. Now we have another school of thought, which is modernism. What do you think is
Ma'am, you are not audible.
yeah. What do you consider as modernism? How do you define modernity, modernism?
Breaking the old tradition.
Correct, exact, right. Any other information which you want to give? What do you consider as modern?
Which is very recent and new.
Yes, new, recent, breaking tradition. Anybody else wants to add? Exactly like your friend said, modernism as a movement, when ism is added to modern, it is a movement about a new beginning of understanding. So, is my slide visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Modernism is a style or movement in the arts that aims to break with classical and traditional forms. As your friend said, it's break from a traditional form of understanding which came in every sphere. Writing or literature, it was in art, it was in design, it was in architecture, it was in hair coloring, it was in when it comes to a thought process, when it comes to lifestyle, the way they dressed, the way they accepted, the way they looked society, everything was new. They started to break the old traditional forms of having an anarchy or having a particular style or having biases in society as an accepted notion. So they wanted something separate or different. We'll see what it is. It was during 19th and early 20th century, exactly even when the new criticism was again a modern way of expression towards literary criticism. The development of modern industrial societies and rapid growth of cities. By the time we come to end of 19th century or during 19th century and early 20th century, we have to keep in mind that we had world wars, we had industrial revolution, which I'll be discussing in future in the coming slides. But again, it was development of modern industrial society. Right? Industrial revolution ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟರ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಬೀರಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಚ್ ಚಾರ್ಲಿ ಚಾಪ್ಲಿನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಂಚಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ನೀವು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಮಷೀನ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಎರಡು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ದ್ವಂದ್ವವನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಲೆಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ರಿಯಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ವೇ. ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಸೊಸೈಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಮಷೀನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ. ದೇ ಕುಡಂಟ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಲೇಬರರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಎ ಇಂದ ಝೆಡ್ ವರ್ಗೂ ಒಬ್ಬ ಲೇಬರರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ ಮುಂಚೆ. ಬಟ್ ಸಡನ್ ಆಗಿ ವೆನ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮಷೀನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಮ್, ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ರೆವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್
Ma'am, just a minute, my dear students. Wait a minute. What happened? There is some network issue. Give us the 2 minutes.
ವಾಸ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ. ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯೂ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ರೊಮ್ಯಾಂಟಿಕ್ ಎರಾ ಅಥವಾ ವಿಕ್ಟೋರಿಯನ್ ಎರಾನ ಇಫ್ ವಿ ಲುಕ್ ಇನ್ ಟು go back and look into that, they used to explain about nature. There were so many superficial things and exaggeration of nature, exaggeration of life, and there was a line when we understand the class system or even the hierarchy or elite concept. Everything was prevailing even in literature and even in society. But during modernism, writers needed something different. ಆಸ್ ವಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್, ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನಲ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬರ್ತಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಯೋಚನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ವೇ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಫ್ ನ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಉಳಿದಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇರ್ ವರ್ ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ಅದರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ವರ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ದೆಮ್ ಟು ಚೇಂಜ್. ಸೊ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಆ ನ್ಯೂನೆಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇತ್ತು. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ನ್ಯೂನೆಸ್? ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೈಲಿ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಮಾಡರ್ನಿಸಮ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡರ್ನಿಸ್ಟ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಯಾವ ಲಿಟರೇಚರ್ ನಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಕರೆದುಕೊಂಡಾಗ, ಯು ಟೇಕ್ ಎನಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್, ದೇರ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ writing where you may see different kind of a form, different kind of a theme, different kind of a discussion about different things. ಸೈಕಾಲಜಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮಾನಸಿಕವಾಗಿ ಆಳವಾಗಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ರೀತಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲೇ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ದ್ವಂದ್ವವಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟೇಶನ್, ಡಿಸ್ಇಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ ಓನ್ ಸೈಕೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗೂ ದ್ವಂದ್ವಗಳು ಆಗ್ತಾವಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ರಿಯಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟ್ ಅನ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಫೀಲ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ something which they wanted to write. Highly individualistic forms of writing. Then radical shift in cultural sensibilities of the corresponding time. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ರೀತಿಯ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳಾಯಿತು. ದ ವೇ ದೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ಡ್ ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್, ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪುಟ್ ಅ ಫೋಟೋಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಟು ಶೋ ಯು ಹೌ ದ ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ಡ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಜಾನ್ರಾದಲ್ಲೂ ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳು ಹೊಸತನದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಯಿತು. ದೇ ನೆವರ್ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಟ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟಾರಿಕಲ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ವಿತ್ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್. ಅವರಿಗೆ ನೇಚರ್ನ ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ಎಕ್ಸಾಜರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬರೆಯುವಂತಹ ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಉಳಿದಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ದೇ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ when there was industrial revolution, there was scientific revolution, there was world war, there was urbanization. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲದರ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ದೇ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಸಿ ಆಲ್ ದೋಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್. ಎಸ್, the very prominent thing is World War I. That is the horror of World War I. We can refer to them as, in American terms, as lost generation. They were never able to come back to the life. So many of them lost their loved ones. There was no meaning in life. There was no concept of, understanding humanity. And war was in a global level. It was nothing in hands of an individual to change. Or nobody asked about an individual understanding of what society is. So society annodu, it started to go away from an individual annodu matte inner quality of a human annodu, it started to come out. Okay, so they started to express, that is a new way to express protest towards the social atmosphere prevalent at that time. We can see colonialism, we can see feminism, we can see women. Everything was new perspective when it came to modernism. Writers such as Ezra Pound and other poets rejected the expressive kind of writing, that what I told you earlier, which was prevailed in Romantic and Victorian literature. They started to favor what kind of writing? A sharp style of writing. They raised their voice in terms of protest against existing social situations. Sharp style andre, we may not find so many figuratives or exaggerations on beautification of life. We may feel, or we may look into the works as the exact happening of the era. If you look for T.S. Eliot's Wasteland, we can see the fragmentation. We can see that from one position to another position, the writer writes. From winter, he directly goes to a drawing room. So if we look into Ulysses, there also we can see that there is so many fragmentations which can be seen. Time which is going in a very different way, not as linear like before. ಇದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಲೀನಿಯರಿಟಿ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, that was broke during that time. Characteristics. It was a strong intentional break from traditional way, both in themes of writing, literature nalli bandirtakantaha themes irbodu, matte thought of an individual nallu irbodu. Denies the existence of absolute truth. What do you mean by absolute truth? What is truth? Absolute truth? Can you try giving an answer for this? Okay, if I ask you a question, what is phone? How do you reply? What is phone? What is telephone? Or what is your phone? Mobiles. What is it? How do you define? Yes, anybody wants to try? try to define what is phone? Okay, leave. Yeah, anybody is trying? You can definitely. I'll give you time.
Chaitra ma'am.
Electronic gadget.
Electronic gadget. Then what is phone? Again, if I ask you what is phone? Electronic gadget. There are so many other electronic gadgets. How do you differentiate phone from other electronic gadgets?
Ma'am, few are texting in chat box.
Is it? I'm not able to see, I think.
No, ma'am, you can.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, principle of, okay. Yeah, a device used to connect with each other, communication media. Yes, exactly. Why did I ask you is, when we take the absolute truth of phone, until I show you a phone, this phone, physical phone, absolute truth is not found. We are trying to find the relative meaning of the word. Phone andre eno? You said electronic gadget. Electronic gadget ಬೇಕಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನು? You said that, ma'am, it's a device which connects from one person to another person. We are trying to give different definition for phone, but there is no absolute truth where we can say this is phone. It can happen in anything. This is in respect to a word which is there in language. If you ask me as what is the absolute truth of me, now I am introduced as assistant professor who is working in Surana College. But is that an absolute truth? Absolute truth is relative. I have another form of me being a daughter, me being a mother, me being a wife, me being an individual, me being a person in a civic society. So there are so many other things which are relative in understanding. And one more thing in which we can see is, when we look at life, life is not absolute truth. It depends on individual, that how you look at life. For some, maybe life is very beautiful now. For some, maybe life is very difficult, because it is on the basis of how you are responding to your life and what is going on with your life. You cannot give absolute truth for what life is, or any other kind of a thing which you discuss. So ಇದನ್ನ ಅವರು ಯಾರು ಮಾಡರ್ನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಅವರು ಪ್ರತಿಪಾದಿಸಿದ್ರು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ಲುಕ್ಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಆಸ್ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್. ನೀವು ಹೇಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಅದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಅದಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇನು ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಟ್ರೂತ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಐಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಒನ್ ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ವಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ರಿಸೀವಿಂಗ್. ನೀವು ಹೇಗೆ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರೋ ಹಾಗೆ. ಓಕೆ. So modernists believe that the world is what we perceive, or world is what we say it is. If I say, oh, my life is so beautiful, then it is beautiful if I am taking all the difficulties which are coming as a beautiful way of interpreting a life. Okay, we can relate to the current situation. We are in a crisis of pandemic. Even the modernists also faced influenza during 1918 and 1920s. What kind of a life we can see now? Here we have become, we are trying to be individualistic, where society is getting separated because we are individually taking care of each and everyone's life. Because even if I get infected in the family, everybody thinks that, okay, she is infected, it should not reach to us. We saw so many news coming that where is the humanity going? There is again a question on humanity when there is a crisis in the world. You can imagine, now we have pandemic, but then it was pandemic, it was world war, it was industrial revolution, it was so many new things which were coming into life of people. Emphasis on the importance of companionship between individuals and inner strength. ಸೊ ಆಗಿನ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಅವರು ಇನ್ನರ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ಗೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಡೋದು ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ, ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯತೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರ ರೀತಿಯ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಇನ್ನರ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ಅ ನ್ಯೂ ಟರ್ಮ್ until modernism, because nobody gave about their personal understanding of a society or personal life through their writings. They started to write what they feel. If you look into Virginia Woolf's writing, or if you look into Ezra Pound's, you can understand that, okay, whatever they have felt, they have written it. Even though it is fragmented, it is open for interpretation. We are not given an exact frame where there is a birth, there is a plot, there is a character which is a protagonist, and there is a particular end. We don't see that linearity. We see that, there is no sync in so many ways. Okay. Yes. Looking into literature, if we have to see what are the approaches in modernist writing, character na tagondaga, when we take character, the character summary disappears in modernism. If we take an individual as a character, we cannot see that this is how you portray a particular character, because during modernism, self was also spoken, and self was something which was contradictory and ambiguous. If I ask you a question now, ask to yourself. So many, times we feel that I don't know what to do. I'm not getting what to decide. I'm willing to do both, but I can do only one. What should I do? This is ambiguity which we have in mind. In all the individuals, they started to speak about this ambiguous nature of humans, whether to stay in a rural side, whether to go for urban side, because there is industrial revolution. There are so many technological improvements which are happening during that time. If I have to mention, there was electricity, invention of electricity, there was combustion engine, incandescent light bulb, the automobiles, the airplanes, the radios, x-rays and fertilizers, and there were so many chemicals which were tried. When you take as war, World War I, why it was so difficult? Because there were so many new ways of destruction which was in global level. And what is that kind of destruction? An unknown destruction, because we don't know whether they are going to do a nuclear bomb, or whether they are going to use a machine gun, or whether they are going to use a different kind of explosive. Everything was new. Even the people who tried it, for them it was new. We can try to find a little bit of resemblance, because recently we were also told that this coronavirus is a biological war, because war is not a war just only happening with the soldiers and troops. It's also a war which can happen in biological way. There were so many questions, there were so many debates, there were so many things which started. Again, it led to the understanding of self. What do you understand during this time, during the time of conflict? Okay. Style, when we take the style of characterization during modernism, the style changed into imagist way rather than one giving logical connection. Imagist way andaga, we can consider that it was clear, it was free verse. Hige ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ವೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಸೂಪರ್ಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ವೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಜುರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ವೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಫ್ರೀ ವರ್ಸ್. ಇವನ್ ದ ಪೋಯಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದೆಮ್, ದೇ ನೆವರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ರಿದಮ್ ಆರ್ ದೇ ನೆವರ್ ಗೇವ್ ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಮೀಟರ್. ಹೀಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ದೇ ನೆವರ್ ಡಿಡ್. They started writing the way they liked, the style. If you take the plot, modernism doubts linear plots, as I told you earlier. Starting, middle, there is a sudden unexpected turning point and something is happening with the hero or the protagonist, and there is a end, whether it is a tragic end or a happy end. It was not like that. It was alternatively moment time, there was multiple plots, unresolved endings. And our moment they started giving emphasis. If we take the current situation now, for the moment we are trying to give emphasize. If we take modernist, they also had a notion of a life which is going to, the civilization which is going to end, because they were seeing deaths all around. There were chaos in the society, and they could not decide that life is beautiful. They could not take it, because something which is happening in and around you is different. ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸಸ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅವರಲ್ಲೂ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ವೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಮೆಂಟೇಶನ್ ಇತ್ತು. ಈ ಲೈಫ್ ಈಗ ನಾನು ಜೀವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಓಕೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ಅಬೌಟ್. Even if you watch the news, I think probably the Americans said the same thing. Many of them did not wear the mask. When they were questioned, they said that life is very short. We want to, be happy till the day we are alive, and we don't want to sit inside wearing a mask or, quarantine ourselves because of a virus. If we are dying tomorrow, let's die tomorrow, but we live for this particular moment. So this kind of a thought was there even when the characterization of plot happened. Unresolved endings, there was no particular ending. Unresolved endings where it is open for interpretation for a reader. ನೀವು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀರಾ ಅಥವಾ how do you receive it, it left to open endings. You can decide on your own whether you want to take in a Marxist way, in a modernist way, in a feminist way, in a any kind of implementation which you do on the work. It's left to you. That is the way they thought. Then focalization. Really, one single authoritative person or character was not found. We can see that there was multiple points of view even held by one character, like how I told you about relative understanding of an individual. What was the reason? I think I may be taking another 10 minutes, if you don't mind. Are you all comfortable? Yeah, thank you. So there are some things which we want to understand, that why it led people during late 90s and early 20s to do so much of change in terms of viewing the society. One thing is there were radical developments. The world was changing in a complete sense. Escalation of warfare to a global level, that is, everywhere they could see one or the other disagreements with each other, and there was wars. New development in anthropological studies in religion. Anthropology, when we get it, we'll go to Darwin, theory of origin of species or theory of evolution. When we look as anthropology, before understanding modernism, human was supreme. We were, blessed by God, and our life was from God, from heaven. Suddenly, when Darwin said that we are all belonging to a particular species and we are cells like all, there is evolution, and that evolution is linear, we are going in that way, then again it gave a lot of confusions in mind. Which one to believe? If you look Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett, you can understand that the characters are so confused. Waiting for Godot, will the God come? Because is there a God? From there the question starts. If there is a God, then what is that anthropology which as a scientific theory has come, which is trying to say that even a human being is a cell or is a species, as what is that, Homo sapien, like others? Question. Then when it comes to religion, again, it's an understanding of whether God is there or not. If there is a God, then where is he? If the world is, Newton's theory came, Einstein's theory came, all this theory of relativity, Newton said that there are, gravitational pull, there is an energy which is there inside, which is trying to pull everyone. Then what is the question about creation of God? God created everything. That again was a duality in the minds of people. So in terms of psychology and sociology, psychology, we can remember Freud, Sigmund Freud, or Sigmund Freud, however you call it. Sigmund Freud gave different analysis, and he took us into the inner world. He said there is a conscious mind, there is a subconscious mind, there is an unconscious mind, and we have to look into ourselves to understand what the memory plays. So in the outside world, they are exposed to scientific, industrial revolution, where they are given with new developments each and every day. And there is one more thing, that you have to retrospect your own psyche or psychology. And again, people were into two ways. One thing was a utopian understanding of a society. Oh, something where a human is powerful and I can go somewhere and I can do everything with the mission, because their time was saved by the introduction to the industries and machines, and they could save time for understanding many other things. And on the other hand, it was towards the end. Okay, what will it lead to? Question mark. Scientific developments like electromagnetism, quantum physics came during this time. We can also see that imperialism was prevalent, the power was playing, colonial time, wherein again the voices were raised against colonialism. If you take Africa, if you take India, if you take any colonized nation or any particular place, then again the questions were raised, voice were raised about imperialism, about colonialism. Shifting power structures like women entering into workforce, this is again a different kind of thought, because all those years ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನಡೆದಿತ್ತಂತಲ್ಲಿ mainstream ನಲ್ಲಿ women was not seen, and suddenly now women are entering into oath, entering into writing, entering into work. So there was difference. It was a time which was for mass communication. It was radio, cinema. So mass communication ಅಂದಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಮಾಸ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಾಸ್ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ ಅಥವಾ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಅಂದಾಗ ಅದು ಪ್ರಿಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಟು ಒನ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇಲೈಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆಗೋಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಕಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ರೀಚಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಒನ್. ವೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ರೀಚಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಒನ್, yes, I can hear some disturbance. Thank you. So when it was mass, everything was getting reached to all common man. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, if we take the example of today, this webinar is happening where I am sitting in my own place, you all are sitting in your own place, and we are able to connect to each other. It's mass communication. It's a technology where I did not come to your place, I did not see your face, even you are not able to look at me in a realistic way. It's a virtual meeting where we are on a platform, and this is because of the technologies which has made possible for everyone to gather the information wherever you are. Everything on your fingertips. This also makes people to both. One is thinking that we are supreme, and other is towards destruction. Okay. So then end of the century consciousness, as I said, it was influence of both, because there was too much distractions, too much new kinds of technologies and new inventions, which was making people themselves as experimental. And the pandemic, which also led, and the deaths due to World War fast lost generations during that time. And in fact, pandemic, I think it has also given so many people to think about end of century. So many also spoke on television media that is it an end of century? Will it be a new yuga when we start again after this coronavirus? It's again a question. So there is one more note which I have added here to give you a glimpse that modernism worked, and the only reason it got declined after 1960s is because there was too many ambiguities or ideologies with respect to style, and so many of them could not understand this abstract manner. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವಂತಿಕೆಯನ್ನ ಅಥವಾ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅವರ ಓನ್ ಆಂಬಿಗ್ವಿಟಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಈಸಿ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕೇಮ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಸೊ post modernism started. So this modernism gave rise to another school of thought, that is post modernism. So these are all the few writings. Ulysses by James Joyce. What was that? New notions of plot, setting was different, characters were different, and form was different. If you take Virginia Woolf to the Lighthouse, she explored the stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness is again a method where you have your own inner timing which is speaking. I mean, if you're sitting now, you may think about your childhood. You may again come back to your now, current, concurrent, contemporary era. You may also go to your future. So when you are expressing that in a work, it becomes stream of consciousness, where you are speaking about different timelines in that particular physical time, which is outside. Even in the wasteland, we can see this. That is, there is an outside time and there is an inner time of the writer who tries to bring in winter, who tries to bring in summer, everything. The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, he has expressed disillusionment and industrialization and the emptiness which all these inventions has brought into life. The Sun Also Rises is another writing by Ernest Hemingway, which talks about the lack of meaning in the lives of lost generation. How After losing a generation, how could anybody have a sink in their life? How could anybody find a meaning in their life when they have lost their loved ones? This is again a writing. Scott Fitzgerald, famous work, The Great Gatsby, focuses on corruption of American dream. This again is something which you can refer for. Can you see these images, guys? Is it visible? Can you see the image on the screen?
Yes, madam.
Yes. This I tried to pick few of the paintings, few of the architectures, which can say that how it was different. You know, you can see the in the first photograph or the picture, a painting, you can see how they have used the color, how they have tried to give shadow, how they have tried to picturize with brightness of the life. It was different from classical writing. So this is a normal, realistic painting where two people are going ahead on a pathway in a garden or into a forest, something which you can interpret on your own. If you see the picture which is in the middle, I think you have seen it on the news recently. Can you remember where did you see this? Anybody do remember? Where did you see the picture which is in between? Blue color. You remember? In one of the most famous cases, which is turning the world, that is Sushant Singh Rajput's case. In that, you can see that it was a DP for Sushant Singh for some time. Why I took this? Because it was again a painting of modernism. It was again a painting which they all, now they are trying to give the meaning for that painting, that it is psychological understanding of life. This is again a psychological psychoanalysis pattern of painting, which again was a form when psychology was a new form during modernism. So you can see two buildings here. There is no symmetry. So building where you are going, there is a perfect shape, there is a perfect square shape, there is a perfect rectangle shape or triangle shape, that is not there. You can see the, there is no sink in the building. It's, creatively done, creatively built. So this was the architecture which was prevailing during modernism. And this, the one with the flower, that painting exactly says about the beauty lies in the eyes of beholder, the one who looks at it, and the way you take it, the life, and the way which goes with the life is how you take the life and perceive the life. So at last, I'm giving you a few points which you can, read and understand the modernism in a very better way, because I tried to give only one small cup of modernism, and modernism is something which is equal to an ocean, because you need to understand all these things. That is understanding the after effects of World War I, political, social, economical, and psychoanalytical. Then nihilism, to just simplify with the nihilism. Nihilism is where they reject all this religious belief and, understanding the moral principles as a only means of social progress. There are other means, according to modernists. So expressionism, in a very simple way, it's against the realism or naturalism. That is speaking about the psychology, speaking about spiritual reality, all this. Futurism is avant-garde movement, one among that, where they speak about intuitions of a writer, irony which is there, and satire which is there in the writing and in the mind of a person. Dadaism is again a avant-garde movement, which again speaks about going back to traditional artistic value, bringing that into time and giving the individual artistic reference to that, having the freedom to analyze and take anything which comes as an art. Then avant-garde moment is the moment which takes us ahead of time, the moment which brings cutting edge for a time, and experimental. Everything which happened during this time was experimental. Everybody started experimenting on anything and everything. Science was experimented, society was experimented, chemicals were experimented, everything was experimental. Imagism is they use the images to express better understanding of everything. So I think by this I can conclude the understanding of modernism and new criticism. I think it's open for discussion. If you have anything to share with me, your feedback is very important to make us, understand how much you need for further understanding of theory. I think this is there also for your syllabus, where you are looking at different text with different perspective. So when it comes to your exam, you can see the differences in both. I can see somebody messaging, thank you, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to everyone.